everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you my Stick Challenge artist trading card using the 3 prompts from the Stick Challenge as well as the color. The color was burnt amber, which is a brown. I figured I would just embrace the brown because that is my least favorite color in the whole world. I just don't like it. So I decided to make some backgrounds. Wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do. But the first prompt was bleach. And I got some bleach from the laundry room. And the first thing I did was I had this dark brown cardstock and this craft colored cardstock. And then I have this manila cardstock, all cut in approximately the right size for an artist trading card. And I put some of the bleach on a French script stamp. And I used a sponge brush for that, and then immediately put it in water so that it doesn't eat the sponge. And then I stamped it on those cardstocks, and that bleaches out the color on the cardstock. I used to do that all the time back in my stamping days. It was a lot of fun to try different colors. So then the other thing I wanted to try, because I was embracing the color brown, was to try using some coffee. And coffee stained and tea stained papers and fabrics are fun. They're it makes them look aged. But I thought since I was using browns that would be a good color to use. So I made some strong coffee, and I should have strained it. I just left the grounds in it. They were a mess. But I was just trying to get a really strong cup, and I wasn't planning on drinking it, so I didn't care about the grounds. But oh well. So I'm alternating using the bleach and the coffee on my 3 little backgrounds. I'm only going to use one of them for the Stick Challenge, but I will show you what I did with the other 2. And if you are watching this video and you leave a comment and you're one of the first 3 people who leave a comment below the video, I will send you one of these. I can send these 3 ATCs to 3 different people, but you need to leave a comment saying that you want it and be one of the first 3 people who does that. Then you'll have to contact me with your address either on Facebook or in my email so that I have your address, of course. The second prompt for the challenge this month was drip. And so I'm trying some different dripping. I dripped with coffee on one of the backgrounds, just letting it drip down, and I dried it. And then on the next one, I decided to drip with the bleach, and I'm using a plastic pipette, so nothing is going to damage that. Pipettes are inexpensive. You can buy them on Amazon, a pack of 20 or something. I will link that product in the description box below as well so that you can get some for yourself. They're handy to drip any type of, anything, inks and paints and whatever. It gives you nice control. So I dripped some coffee, I dripped some bleach, I did some drying. I'm pretty happy with my backgrounds now, and I pick one to use for my challenge. I'm also trying to do a face each day for the 29 Faces challenge, and so I decided I would draw a face on my ATC. And so I'm using a graphite pencil and a white eraser, and just drawing a little tiny face. It's tricky drawing them this small. They're so tiny, but it works out. I've done this a lot, so it's fairly easy to follow the rules of drawing a face, of making an upside down egg and putting the eyes in the middle and the nose in the middle of that and the lips in the middle of that, and the whole thing. So that's what I'm doing with my graphite pencil. If I'm not happy with something, I erase a little bit, but there's not that much erasing going on. Then of course I have to decide what kind of hair do I want. So I pencil in some hair. A little bit tricky because the background I'm drawing on is very dark, so it's hard to see the pencil lines. But once I'm done with the pencil lines, then I get my small bullet nib Faber-Castell pit pens. I had to buy a new set because my other ones, my extra small, small, and brush were getting out of ink. So I bought a smaller set that had just 4 in it instead of 8 or whatever the other one is. And the thing about these pens is that they are India ink, and they are pretty much indelible. They're not coming off. So in the next step, you'll see me using bleach again, and you would think to yourself, well, you just drew those lines, and now when you put the bleach on it, it's going to bleach them out. And if it was a water-based marker, or even in some cases pigment-based markers, that is the case. The bleach would still continue to bleach, you know, they would bleach the lines off, and then you'd be like, well, why did you put those lines on there? But in the case of India ink, it doesn't bleach. So I'm able to bleach out the skin and the hair pretty well of my little girl, lighten up those areas. The wild card this month for the ATC was gesso, and I could have just used some gesso instead, but I just wanted to continue playing with the bleach. So that's what I did. I bleached out her skin, her neck, and her hair areas with the bleach. So then I got the coffee back out again and a small brush, and I started adding in my shading using the coffee. So you can see here, I'm playing with bleach and coffee today. That's it. Back and forth, making it simple. Not trying to do too much in the way of products. However, I do end up adding some warmer tones in with some Neocolor 2 water-soluble crayons because I thought she looked too one-dimensional with just the coffee. I could have continued maybe to darken areas and make like lighter and darker coffee areas like you would with a watercolor, but I was getting impatient at this point. So I decided to add in a little bit of pink and red colors using the Neocolor by just drawing it onto my craft mat and picking it up with a wet brush, coloring in her cheeks and her lips, and then adding those colors in other places to make it more balanced. And then I decided to add a kind of a rust terracotta color to her hair to give her some highlights that were a different color than the background. And of course I got to dry that up. Then I add in a few little highlights with white Posca pen, and at the end I do add some more highlights with the white Posca pen, which doesn't make it onto the recording because it was after I already turned the camera off. And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to put a little bit more white. I do like that white Posca pen, as most of you know who've been watching my channel for a while. So then the third and final prompt for the ATC challenge is glue. Well, that one, I mean, it's glue. I'm going to end up using glue in a few different ways here. I glued the trimmed down piece to another one of the pieces that I had messed around with, and that one did get a little bit of bleach spilled on it in the corner, but I didn't think it really affected anything, so I was fine with it. And it made a little, background and border frame, which I like. I enjoy that. I got out the brush tip marker and decided to thicken some of the lines. Drawings are more dynamic, illustrations are more dynamic when you have thick and thin lines. So I did that, and then I decided she needed a flower in her hair, and I knew I had these craft colored little flowers, they're paper, and so I picked out the one that had the brown polka dots on it and glued that into her hair. And then I decided to use a half pearl sticky thing as the center of the flower because it doesn't have a center, which is kind of annoying. But they're designed so that you can layer them one on top of each other and then put a brad in the middle. So that I was fine with that. Then I decided to use a Tim Holtz chat sticker to finish off my composition. Needed something in that upper left corner. So I draw lines around it, and then I stain it a little bit with the coffee because it is way too white for the rest of it. And then If you'd like to see what I did with the other two backgrounds, the pictures are coming up at the end of the video. And remember, you can leave a comment, and if you're one of the first 3 commenters, you can send me your address and I will send you one of these cards. I added a little bit more shading with the coffee, and like I said, I did add some more white highlights. So that's it for my Pick a Stick challenge. Remember to leave me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. That's it for me. Bye-bye.
What?